Well, hello there, friends, and welcome to Virtual Strangers 63. I'm your host, Wes. With me, as always, my good friend, Roots. Roots, you made it, buddy. What took you so long?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I was just dilly-dallying, just strolling around. Actually, it seemed like there was a lot of things coming against us there. I can't believe we actually got it going because once you even woke up, the camera wasn't even working for some reason through OBS. We had to fix that as well. So,
Yeah, of all days for us to have technical difficulties, it would be the day that my alarm doesn't go off and I sleep in.
mhm.
Lucky thing for you and me and everyone in the chat was I actually was up early this morning and had all my ducks in a row before I laid back down. So I guess if there was a day to oversleep, today was it, huh?
Yeah, and if there's a day to emphasize being prepared, that's it. Because like you said, you had everything ready. So something happened, you jumped right up, got it set up, got it done, and we're good. So that's always good.
Yeah, apologies to everyone who's been waiting in the chat. Sorry about that. My apologies. Roots. It reminds me. When I was little, I used to have to ride the school bus to school, and I come from a pretty strict upbringing, and you'd get in trouble if you missed the school bus,
Mm.
and you didn't want to be in trouble. I'll just say that for anything. But so what that would mean, and I had to walk to the bus stop. The bus couldn't come to my house because I lived up such a small remote road that the bus couldn't get there. I had to actually walk down to get to the school bus. And every now and then I would oversleep. And rather than take the punishment for missing the bus, uh, if it were close and I'd walk out and I could hear the bus coming from up the road, I would take off in a dead sprint. And there were days where the bus had to literally sit there and wait, and I was the last stop, and the bus would wait for me, and I would have to sprint down the road, and everyone watching while I'm running like Forrest Gump, and then eventually I would make it on the bus all out of breath and and go on to school. But it was always the longest ride to school because it was so embarrassing having sprinted for the bus. And that's what I feel like right now, Roots. I feel like I just went in a dead sprint to catch the school bus, but I made it.
Yeah, good news is the bus stopped. It got you. You're in, and we're ready to go. Right?
Right, right. Now we get to instead of going to school, I get to take people to school.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
VR Spry Guy in the chat, Mepper, Radio Rat, wife says Happy Father's Day. Thank you, wife. Slay Blaze, thanks for showing up, guys. Roy Schwartz, thanks for hanging out and waiting while I get my stuff together. I really appreciate it. And
Yeah.
happy Father's Day, by the way, Roots. Happy
Yeah,
Father's
you
Day.
too. Did you see that the capable let me talk gamer said that he's finally catching a live show, so we're glad you're able to catch it for sure.
Yeah, handy capable gamer. I spoke to him shortly yesterday, playing through The Last of Us 2 and loving it so far.
Really? Oh wow.
So far being the operational word.
So have you watched any streams yet?
Yeah, dude, that's pretty much all I did yesterday was watch The Last of Us Part 2 stream. I mean, literally, that's what I was doing when Handy Capable Gamer messaged me as I was watching The Last of Us 2, waiting for the reaction. And it didn't go down, and I don't want to get into it too much because I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but it didn't go down exactly the way that I thought it was going to. They did do things a bit differently in the game than I expected. So some people are going to like it, man. Some people are going to like it. Still not my cup of tea, but different than I thought it was going to be for sure.
Well, that's good. Well, does that mean you want to play through it? Well, I mean, if you're still
Not at
watching,
all.
okay.
No.
I was gonna
No.
say, well, that sucks. I mean, you were psyched to play through it, but at least you're able to watch it. So
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing. If you're watching a stream, you're getting half the experience because there's so many cinema scenes in it. It seems like you're watching half the time instead of playing.
well, plus if you like the stream or if you enjoy hanging out and stuff, you're actually getting something on top of it. So I think, but
Yeah, yeah, for sure. for sure. But yeah, watch GT Gamertag VR play a little bit of it on launch day. I think he's going to come back tomorrow and play some more. Also been watching a couple of other YouTubers that I generally don't watch for gaming, to be quite honest, but they're playing through The Last of Us 2, so I'm going to watch. I want to see what they think.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Anyway, let's say we talk some VR. I've got a pretty good show lined up here. Half of it still coming from the Upload VR showcase, but the other half, stuff that's even happened since then.
Wow. Well, let's get into it. Sounds good.
Well, the first thing I want to talk about was indeed from the Upload VR Showcase Summer Edition that took place just this last week. And it was a fairly big deal, but, you know, I wanted to save some of it for today's show. And I couldn't think of a better way to lead off than with Pistol Whip. You know, it's been quite some time now that the Pistol Whip developers over there at Cloudhead Games have been teasing us with some kind of massive groundbreaking update to the Pistol Whip game that was going to completely change everything, reset the leaderboards, and we had no idea what it was that they were hinting at, what they were alluding to until now. They unveiled their roadmap, their plans for the future, their plans for their game at the Upload Showcase last week, and it was not small. I mean, they had a lot of plans, starting with the release of the game on PlayStation VR. PSVR owners can now get their hands on the game July 28th. So a little over a month away for this game to be released on PlayStation VR. And Roots, I think it's going to be a hit. I think that Pistol Whip is well suited for PlayStation VR, and the weaknesses that and problems that people have with that hardware, I don't think are going to show through on this game. I think this game, in so many words, this is a PSVR game.
Yeah, I agree. You know, I started to feel really bad that they had to wait till the 28th. And then I remember they have Iron Man in 2 weeks. And I don't feel bad anymore because I don't get to play Iron Man. So, bastards. But no, this, I agree. I think the hardware limitations of the PlayStation VR definitely won't play any part in this game. And it is amazing. And there's not really anything like this on PlayStation as far as being a shooter and a rhythm game that's well, actually, I guess it's unique in and of itself in any platform, right?
Well, that's the thing about Pistol Whip is it is so unique. You can't really put a genre on it. I mean, you can call it a rhythm shooter, but it's nothing like Audica. It's nothing. I mean, I guess it's probably more like Beat Blaster than Audica, but even that, I mean, Blaster is nowhere near this in terms of depth. I mean, this game is it's kind of in its own league.
Yeah. So what did they I guess on their roadmap? What are they changing? We were always talking about what the fundamental ways they were changing this.
All right. Well, as you know, they've been releasing monthly content updates, bringing us a new level, new weapons, and new features on a monthly basis for pretty much the entire half year since it's launched. We got our final of those updates, a level called Religion, or actually, I guess that's the name of the song, Religion. And it is an intense new track, kind of a gauntlet run through the level. And it is, in fact, the game's longest level. I suppose you haven't had time to get in and try that out. I haven't.
No, I didn't even know it dropped. But man, longer, you say? Can my thighs take the... Because I haven't played this for a while. So you throw me into a longer track, I'm probably screwed.
Yeah, well, that was the thing. When they launched this, you know, I started to go into it and try it out. It's over 5 minutes long. It's something like 5 minutes and 10 seconds, 5 minutes, 15 seconds, something like that. I started to go in and try it out, but I just had played Crisis Brigade 2. And that was a bit of a delayed burn, but my legs were stiff for probably 3 or 4 days after that. So that's kind of what knocked me out of playing Pistol Whip. I really wasn't able, to be quite honest.
Yeah. Crisis VR Brigade is a lot like this in a sense. I mean, not as much ducking, right? But you still are moving around a lot. So.
Yeah, well, that game, you know, that level, there was a lot of ducking. I mean, it got to the point where I just sat in the floor and played the level. I mean, I was down more than I was up, so I just stayed down.
Yeah, that works.
Anyway, they unveiled their roadmap for the rest of the year, highlighting two very significant content updates that are to occur later this year. The first one being called the Heartbreaker update, and it's going to add a trilogy of new songs to the game, quote, for the lovers, with a vibe that's a chilled out action experience with more abstract environments, water guns, two new modifiers, and achievements. So the Heartbreaker update Roots more of a slow jam and a little bit more of an artistic approach at a level.
How the hell are they going to use water guns? Like, that's what I want to know, because I don't know. How do you incorporate water guns into this game? It would be very interesting to see. I guess we're going to see. But
yeah, that kind of I found that kind of strange as well. I mean, if they're going to do water guns, they better be like super soakers. You know what I mean?
yeah, something. I don't know. It sounds bizarre. But man, so did Phantom Covert Op. We laughed at first, and then now we're in awe for its dropping because it looks so good. So maybe the water gun will be the way for Pistol Whip in the future. You'll be like, I ain't using that crappy gun. I want the water gun. Who knows?
All right. Well, let me paint a picture for you here, Roots. Uh, you start the game up. You start, slowly making your way down the path. We've got some cool slow jams kicking in the background. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And come to find out, they've done this collaboration with the people from VR Paradise. So instead of the enemies coming out from the walls, out come these ladies, right? And they all have on white T-shirts. And you look down, oh, what's in my hand? Oh, look there, there's some water guns. Hey,
that sounds.
I'm buying in, even if that's paid DLC. You can take my money.
That sounds like Mamefans jam, and it sounds like a completely different game. I don't even know where that phone is. Oh, there we go. All right. Yeah, so that sounds like a completely different game, but yeah, it sounds interesting. Call it wet T-shirt or something, right? I think only 50% of the population would love it. The other would scream sexism.
I would venture it would be a little more than half. Well, maybe they wouldn't scream that they'd love it, but deep down inside, you know what I'm talking about.
They'd love it. Yeah, I agree. Hey, let's see it. I would pay for that, even if it was a payable DLC.
Greg's VR said he'd be down with that update. I think most of us would, Greg. I think Roots called it. Mamefan would be all over it.
Yeah, he's probably already messaging the devs saying, "I'll buy another copy if you add this."
Right. Yeah. Anyway, Heartbreaker update. Again, more of an artistic update, I feel like. I don't feel like challenge is going to be the thing there. I think it's going to be all about the style. It'll be something cool to check out, but that wasn't really what got me excited, Roots. What got me excited was the concierge. And it's the second update scheduled for Q4 2020 that will release alongside an action pack that will add new enemies, weapons, mechanics, and here's the cool part, Roots, all framed by a cinematic action campaign. So what they're doing to Pistol Whip is they're bringing in a story campaign that you can play through, all new weapons, all new kinds of mechanics that they're adding into it, new enemies, the whole nine. They're making the game, dude. They're overhauling it and putting into it what I always look for first in a game, a story campaign. And that, my friend, has my interest piqued.
Yeah, that's badass. And that's cool that they're spending so much time and money and interest in making their game better. And it's something we wanted from day one, right? Some kind of a story, something to draw me in. This would definitely be... See, I don't even own this game. This would be something that would make me buy the game. So right now I'm using somebody else's copy off Steam. So, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, man. You'll remember when this game launched, and I really enjoyed it and I liked it. But my vision of a rhythm shooter that wasn't competition based was very different from what Pistol Whip actually turned out to be. And my vision was just that. It was a story campaign that you kind of move through on a rail with all sorts of different enemy diversity, and you have to not only attack but defend on rhythm, boss fights, the whole nine. Basically, uh, something like Dimension Hunter, only on rhythm with a lot better looking levels, obviously, and a lot better music. But when Pistol Whip didn't live up to my hopes, I just kind of moved on. I was happy with the end product, but now it seems like they're calling a redo, and I'm all for it, man. I can't wait to see what these new mechanics and new weapons, new enemies are going to be.
Sounds like people at Cloudhead Games heard you. They listened and they're fixing the game, right? So,
I mean, I hope that's the case. If so, this thing could turn out to be, one of the best games of all time. And uh, I said it. I said it during the 2019 show. We were talking about the game of the year and what a close, um, contest it was, because we had Blood and Truth, we had Stormland, we had Asgard's Wrath, and we had Pistol Whip. And I said, you know what? Right now I'm digging these other three games probably a little more than Pistol Whip. But the question is, a year from now, which one of these games are we still going to be playing? And I kind of feel like Pistol Whip's the most likely one. And it's looks like it's playing out that way, Roots.
yeah, especially if they're adding a whole new campaign. So for sure, that definitely will be a reason to go back and play it.
But with that said, I mean, it's probably the second coolest thing that they could have announced. I am a little bit disappointed because, as I recently alluded, I want my gallery episode 3, man. And the way that they're planning on building Pistol Whip up, I'm starting to think that that's becoming less and less of a possibility.
Yeah, they may have, sacrificed the Gallery 3 for an amazing Pistol Whip. I'll take that sacrifice, but I'm not as invested in those worlds as you were. Although I would like to see what they could do because each one's gotten better, the first than the second. But no, I'm really intrigued on what they're going to do mechanic wise and how they're going to change this game and how amazing it'll be when it's all said and done.
Yeah, yeah. The Gallery Episode 2, one of the best story-driven games in VR, in my opinion, and certainly one of the best looking. Like graphically, that game is still one of the best looking games, even to this day, with all the new Gen 2 games out. The Gallery 2, beats most games even still.
It's crazy.
Radio Runt says, I need to try the Gallery series. Yeah, be sure to try both of them, Radio Runt. They tend to bundle them together when they have a sale. And the first one, not quite as good as the second one, but it's worth a playthrough just to have that story foundation to build upon. It allows you to have a relationship with the characters before things begin to happen.
Abduction. Oh, wait, I need to get back in there. That's what that reminds me of. So
Yeah, it actually kind of does remind you of Abduction. Like kind of on a smaller scale, but more, built for VR. It's a legit VR game with 6 off hands and the whole deal. Whereas the VR support for Abduction was kind of added in later. And you can definitely tell it when you play the two.
yeah, Radio Runt says he thinks they're available on Infinity, which I think they are too, but I'm not sure.
Well, why don't we check in real time? That's kind of what we do here, bro.
Yeah.
If they're available on Infinity, then I mean, people should go play it today, right?
Yeah.
All right, so I've got my Viveport up. Looks like they're plugging the new Pistol Whip as soon as you open Viveport. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is kind of fortuitous, right?
So let's see here. We were looking for the gallery. Roots, I think that we're almost due another the best of Viveport episode. I was looking through here last night.
Some good stuff.
When I was doing the show, and there's some really quality looking titles on Viveport that I feel like I want to play. One
Yeah.
of them was brand new. It was called Horror Adventure VR or something like that.
Okay.
It was premium looking.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
so yeah, Gallery Episode 1, Call of the Starseed, and Gallery Episode 2, Heart of the Emberstone, both available
Both.
on Viport
You're
Infinity.
right. Radio Runt. So yeah, go check them out today if you've got Infinity. There's no reason not to.
Yeah, absolutely. Some of still a couple of VR's best in my opinion, especially if you like a story-driven puzzle game where the puzzles. I mean, it's easy to say they're not too hard, but they're not too easy either, are they?
No, no, there's a difference. Some of the ones we've been playing lately where we've said they're not too hard really are not difficult at all. But they had a few in there that made you stop for a while, try to figure it out. Especially I think in the beginning of one, I can't remember. It's been a while, but
Yeah. That you have to really pay attention in one. Some of those early puzzles, you have to kind of read a little bit to understand what. I mean, I guess you could look into figuring it out, but if you really want to understand what's going on, you have to be very attentive to the things in your immediate surroundings.
yep.
But anyway, Pistol Whip. They said big things were coming, man, and they weren't lying. I guess I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt for the rest of the year. Check out this concierge update. Check out this heartbreaker. If the heartbreaker turns out to be anything like what I just described, I think this might be game of the year for the second year in a row.
Wow, it's crazy, right?
Yeah. Alex VR in the house. What's up, guy? What's up, man? Thanks for showing out. Um, so enough about Pistol Whip. Enough about future uh, updates. And I guess this would probably be a good time for me to ask you. I didn't get a chance to talk to you before the show that much. Are we doing live trailers today, or are we just?
I don't have them, no, not today.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
good. All right, so let's go from talking about a future update to a current update, and one that kind of just fell from out of nowhere, but a great game nonetheless. Carnage Chronicles, Nordic Trolls virtual reality role-playing game, which is currently in early access, is going to take a big step forward towards final release soon with the release of a new content update. And what this is, Roots, it's they've revamped the entire third level of Carnage Chronicles into a brand new area with hours of new gameplay, new monsters, and new challenges. In this update, you will leave the caves and spend more time under the open skies. It replaces the old level 3, like I mentioned, which may return in a different form in the future. Roots, you and I actually played this game some time ago, and I was really impressed with it, not only graphically, but I felt like it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's super fun, dude. Actually, this is one of the best dungeon crawlers I've played with not only you, but Mamefan. I've played through, I think, most of this game, if not all of it, with the exception of the changes. But no, it's one of the best dungeon crawlers that I've played, and it's very difficult. It's got different things going on than I've seen in virtual reality games, to the point of when I came up to a healer for the first time, there was a guy that looked like Raiden or something, this big old hat, and I'm like, what is this guy doing? I'm trying to kill something else and it won't die, and finally dawns on me that there's this guy healing him, and I've never seen that in virtual reality, which is just I mean, it should be a common thing, right, in games, but I thought that was really cool. And so it makes me really excited to see what this third level looks like, because I was impressed with everything I've played so far.
Yeah, me too, man. I really enjoyed it. It was a great co-op experience, and it would be easy for me to sit here and call this the best dungeon crawler in VR. But the truth is, I haven't played that many. I haven't even tried the Mage's Tale out yet, which I think looks outstanding. But of the ones I've played, Carnage Chronicles is easily the best.
Yeah, and I like the fact that you can upgrade your weapons, your armor, just everything about it. And I know somebody said they were curious about, I think it was Alex VR, wanted to play Carnage Chronicles, but didn't want to shell out the cash. What's it go for normally? $25? I think it's on sale, but I don't know. I thought
Yeah.
I could have sworn I bought it for like $10 a long time ago, but
Yeah, it goes on sale often, so you can pick it up for $10 to $15 on the regular. But I think you're right. I think it is $25 normally.
Okay. Yeah, it's definitely a good game, and that's cool that they're changing things and making it even better. So I'm excited. You know, you said it's dropped already?
I do believe so. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see.
Might have to go back in here and check it out.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure it dropped, but I think it did. Let me check it. Might as well check in real time,
I
right?
thought that's what you were saying when you were talking about it, but definitely, like I said, I enjoyed it so much that I would love to go back into it and check out the new area.
Well, we've been talking about doing another gameplay for our patrons
Yeah.
on the Patreon, and we keep going back and forth. I mean, we were talking about doing Evasion, and then we were talking about doing some quests in Rec Room. But we did that Carnage Chronicles playthrough uh, video before, but we had technical issues with the sound, and I wasn't able to publish it into an actual video. Might be time to call a redo on that thing, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Check out the whole third level, right?
So Carnage Chronicles, yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, it would take us a while to work up to that, obviously, but I think we'd have fun getting there.
Yeah.
Carnage Chronicles indeed is $25, by the way, on
Okay.
Steam.
Could have sworn I
And,
remembered that price. Is it? I wonder if it's on Infinity. Probably not, but that's one of those.
I mean, I didn't think the gallery was,
Yeah,
so
that's true.
it's difficult to say. Let's see here. I'm trying to find the update
That is
announcement.
that
It
is a
says coming soon, so I guess it hasn't.
game to Infinity. It is a good
What?
point. VR Spry guy. He says that reason he hasn't played it yet is it's still in early access. Now I don't know if they're close to getting out of early access or not, but it is a good sign that they keep adding stuff and changing levels and making it better, right? So
Yeah, yeah. It's one of those that really puts me in the mind of what was it from Jay, our friend over at um, name is escaping me now.
yeah.
What's the early access game that's getting ready to get a huge content update after they release the Tarzan VR? Stonepuck
Oh
Studios.
yeah.
Um,
I was just thinking about that game earlier. The one that,
Primordian.
yeah.
Primordian. It reminds me of Primordian in the fact that it it seems like a very complete game already and a very high quality game. Like it could come out of early access right now, but like Primordian, it's still getting major content updates and redos. And as good as Primordian was, Stonepuck Studios, Jay said he's going to redo the entire game from the ground up, new graphics,
It's
the whole
crazy.
nine, and it's already one of the most beautiful games in VR.
It is. Yeah. Now this game is definitely Alex VR. This is definitely worth playing through, especially because you can play co-op with it's not just two people. I think it's just up to three. So that's pretty cool. And you can do the be the warrior, you can be a archer, you can be is there a magic person? I'm not sure what I thought there was a third option, but I usually go
I'm
archer,
not.
so
I don't think so. I think there was just two
okay.
when I went through. But I think in this one, here, let me read this update to you because I do think that you play as a different character in this.
Really?
If I'm not mistaken, yeah, I think it said you play as some. Yeah, yeah. Here, let me read this description to you. Every 5,000 years, the planets align and create a rift in the fabric of the cosmos. It's prior to such an event that this story unfolds. You will play as a Murkwraith, an undying knight barred from death's domain, and cursed to eternal servitude for sins committed eons ago.
Oh,
Experience a rich story that takes you on a perilous journey through dark dungeons filled with monsters, traps, puzzles, treasure, and more.
I thought I atoned for my sins in my last life. Maybe I didn't. I don't know. That sounds pretty interesting. So I wonder what kind of weapons this person uses. And now you don't have to play this, right? This is just a third option of another character.
That's the way I took it. Murkwraith. I mean, you're not already playing as a Murkwraith, are you?
Well, yeah, I don't know. That's good.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I was just reading what Paradise Decay was saying about the Primordian devs redoing it in the new Unity engine.
Oh,
So
that makes sense. Yeah, they had a pretty major update to Unity last year that had a lot more VR functionality built into it. So yeah, that would make sense, PD, if Stonepuck Studios were.
what a
Uh,
hard working dude, man. That guy's just he's been plugging away on it, making his game amazing for a couple years now. So that's what, as we're going further in this industry, you're going to keep seeing those type of developers, Carnage Chronicles, that type, just keep rising up because they're just working so hard. And then the other ones out there that complain that nobody's buying their game because they slapped it out, and then they I don't know, man. Such a weird time in virtual reality, right?
Indeed, a great time in
Yeah.
virtual reality, and a great time to be a VR gamer, man. So many great games, and we're still in the days of cheap games. You can still get great games without having to pay an arm and a leg for them. Uh, Generally, I mean, in most cases, it's the exclusives are the ones that really cost, but every one of those, I mean, are worth the money, right?
Yeah, even in this game, if you're talking about $25, that's not that expensive for what you're getting. It's definitely worth the game. I mean, obviously people want to get it cheaper, but most games, even when they're new or they're good that are flat games, you might get them on sale for 40 from 60. So 25 is not too bad. I mean, you can definitely get it cheaper, but
Yeah, it's a great game. If you enjoyed the Wizards Part Two, the Wizards Dark Times that we talked about last week, you're really going to enjoy this game. Very similar looking levels, very similar looking enemies, very similar gameplay. Even though in the Wizards you're kind of using magic to produce your weaponry, and in Carnage Chronicles it's physical items. It's still very similar gameplay where it's all projectile based, fought from a distance in many cases, and then obviously there's some melee in Carnage Chronicles that isn't really a part of the Wizards as much, but it's very similar in a lot of different ways.
yeah, very true. Now, Carnage Chronicles, I'll tell you what, the different levels, the diversity of enemies, like even those little like mushroom guys, I think they were, or little guys that come running at you that explode. There's just a lot as you progress further. It's not just the same old, and it makes me want to go back in and see what they've changed to make this third level cool.
Yeah, agreed. Well, I think we have a new front runner for which game we're going to do our gameplay in, right?
Yeah, well, Anakazi says 4 people, 4 players can play in this, so that's even better.
Oh, really? I didn't know it would support four. That's pretty awesome, dude.
Yeah.
There aren't a whole lot of campaigns. That's kind of why I picked Evasion, is because you can play with 3 people. I didn't, I wasn't expecting 4 in that one or this one. That's really uncommon with a story-driven game like this.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'd like to play 4 people.
Yeah. I mean, I can probably count on one hand the games that come to my mind off the top of my head that have that kind of a campaign in it. Like, I think Bloody Zombies, you can play up to 4-player co-op in it, but it's a different kind of game. It's a side-scroller beat 'em up game. Does it Onward? Doesn't it have like a co-op campaign in it that you can bring multiple players into?
Yeah, but I don't know what the specifics are. I've only played the online portion of Onward, never the co-op.
Okay,
So.
and then like I mentioned, Evasion. I know you can bring up to 3 into Evasion if you're playing on PC. On PlayStation VR, I don't think that's the case. I think you can only do 2 players on PSVR.
Okay. Cool.
Anyway, Carnage Chronicles is an outstanding game. Roots and I, both agree that it's worth the $25 price tag. But if you're not willing to pay that much for it, just wait. Wait a minute. It'll go on sale. It goes on sale all the time.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it goes on sale for about $10. So, if I'm remembering correctly, and we have a sale coming soon, right? The summer
Yeah,
sale?
the Steam summer sale, and the Steam sales are kind of ridiculous. They're so huge. Literally, uh, all of your games, all of your favorite games that you want are going to be on sale, except for Magic Man's Head games, the Adventure Time game from way back when. That game never goes on sale, Roots.
Yeah, it's so cheap anyway. I've never played it. Zakotron says we need more PSVR co-op games. I agree. There's not too many out there, right?
Absolutely. And the good thing about Evasion is not only is it a PSVR co-op game, but it's also an aim controller game. We need more aim controller games too.
Yeah, I was just talking to a friend last night at my daughter's graduation thing, and um, he was saying that he didn't have an aim controller yet, and he's like, I gave up on it, getting it. He couldn't find it or whatever, and I was like, dude, like that's you have to play. I guess he's got Farpoint. His brother bought it, but they don't have a controller for it. So
Oh my goodness, dude,
yeah,
that is insanity.
yeah,
I checked GameStop a few days ago, and they had them in stock online. The used, pre-owned aim controllers for like $43 or $44.
yeah. That's not too bad. I mean, it's one of those things too that you can justify because it's like I'm headsets myself. Like I'm so sketched about buying a used headset because there's little things in the you could miss or not see until later. But I mean, a controller, especially if you can take it back with GameStop's smashing guarantee, and that would be one that would be fun smashing. I think, you know, if you just
Yeah,
went in there and just slammed it down on the ground and then say this thing's broken, I need to exchange it. That'd be
yeah.
cool. Yeah,
I don't think I could bring myself to smash an aim controller. I just love it too much.
yeah, it's definitely worth getting. It's one of those things I don't think you should not have. Like if you have a PlayStation VR, it's definitely a must-have in my opinion. So
Yeah, Zakatron says Farpoint has a great co-op and versus mode. Yeah, Farpoint is one of the best VR games
oh
ever,
god,
period. And it's so versatile. That's absolutely correct. DLG's in the house, and he says, "Where is Farpoint 2?" I think it's going to be on our state of play that they show us there sometime around the end of August.
okay,
Uh, that's just pure speculation on my point and wishful thinking, by the way. But yeah, I definitely think that Farpoint 2 is in the works. We do know that Impulse Gear, the developer, has been working on something for quite some time now. I got to imagine that it has to be a PlayStation 5 VR game, right?
yeah. Well, it came out with the original, right? This was like a big thing. Was one of the best AAA games in VR when it launched. So why not do the same thing with PlayStation VR 2? And yeah, I just realized that there was a Paradise Decay let me in that there's an alien invasion going on behind me. It freaked me out for a second there. So, um, uh,
Dark frequencies roots.
yeah, dark frequencies for real, yo. Uh,
Looks like Delirium Drew's in the house. Hey Drew, what's up, buddy? Thanks for showing up. Overgees, what's up, friend? Uh, so yeah, Carnage Chronicles, um, awesome game, and on sale pretty frequently. So keep be on the lookout for that.
yeah, for sure.
So when I was putting this thing together this morning, Roots, I honestly expected all of it to come from the upload showcase. So I was happy to see the Carnage Chronicles update, uh, just so I could have something else, something that people haven't known about for the better part of a week. And as I was, doing my research, looking through all of the different VR news websites, I stumbled upon this game called Awaken. Awaken. And this is from Polish indie studio VR Bros. It's the VR Bros, brah.
Hmm.
Uh, and they have released their first teaser trailer for this upcoming horror title, which is a twisted take on scary hotels and mechanical puppets. The game is set in a creepy, desolate hotel, which is located in an abandoned mining town. The premises are run by a less than ethical doctor who doesn't seem to have any guests to worry about. You awaken in this hellhole, but you don't appear to be human. Roots, I read the premise, right? And I said, okay, this game has potential. Then I watched the trailer, and dude, this is an awesome trailer. And this is one of those cases that you refer to very often about how a trailer totally uh, takes on a different vibe when it has sound. This is one of those cases where I wish the trailer had sound because this is a awesome, awesome trailer with awesome music and a creepy vibe. What did you think about it?
Ah, yeah, for sure. We can do the sound if we want on any of these, but yeah, I agree. It's definitely looks crazy, and the premise is what really intrigues me. Just the thought, like it says, every puppet has a master. Clearly, you're a puppet, right? And but
Yeah,
who's your master, and what's going on in the story, and why are you able to be separate from what's going on, right? And I don't know, just it sounds really intriguing. So.
well, that's the thing. That's the thing that this game oozes is originality. This seems like a different story. You know what I mean? This seems like one of those deals that we're going to say, wow, I've never played anything like that before. And it looks really cool.
Yeah, it reminds me, there's that one puppet game, the VR, not VR puppets. I can't remember what the one, but the one where the puppets come to life, and it's kind of funny,
Yeah.
but it's, I never played through that. I need to check that out sometime.
Yeah, I agree. It was, I forget what the
Hello
name of it was, but
Puppets or something.
yeah, something like that. It was where like you have a puppet on one of your hands, right? But the puppet is a character in the game that talks to you. Is that the one you're talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah. It was supposed to be
Yeah.
pretty funny, kind of creepy. I think PD played through it, but yeah, I didn't watch the playthrough because I want to play through it. But yeah, it looks pretty cool. This does. It looks intriguing, and definitely sound adds a lot to it for sure.
Yeah, Onakazi says it would be VR bras if they were from California. Yeah, I guess that's true. These guys are from Poland, so it's the VR bros, bro.
Mm, that's funny.
Uh, Paradise Decay says Five Nights at Freddy's. Why no Five Nights at Freddy's on Quest? Yeah, he's poking fun. During the upload showcase last week, people kept spamming the chat with the "Where's Five Nights at Freddy's on Quest?" Apparently, this is the new Gorn for PSVR. It's the one game that everybody just can't wait to get their hands on.
For Quest,
Yeah, for
you
Quest.
said your son loved it, right?
Yeah, he's that's the one thing he's waiting on Quest. Honestly,
So
is
he was
the
one of
Five
the
Nights at Freddy.
spammers. He was a spammer.
Uh, yeah, I actually offered to buy the game for him on PlayStation VR a few weeks back, and he turned it down. He said he wanted the one on Quest.
He said, "I'm not slumming it with the PSVR." He said, "You will be when the PS5 drops."
That's right. People were going to wish they had those headsets again when the new machine drops. But honestly, and I don't want to get up on a tangent here with it, but I really do. The more I think about it, the more it makes sense that Sony's going to be releasing new VR hardware sooner rather than later.
Yeah, they have to. That's the one thing that's holding them back. That they can honestly say we're a viable competition with everything else. Once they drop that, it's like, with the PlayStation 5, they're right in the game, if not better, because they've got all the amazing exclusives, right? And who knows what's dropping. So
Right. Yeah, that's the thing. That's an exciting time, right? Because literally it could be anything. And the way that they've set themselves up here, they're either going to have a big VR showcase presentation, or they're just totally going to let VR die off. And I don't believe that to be the case at all. I think VR is reaching new heights on a daily basis, and I don't think that this is a fact that's lost on the guys at Sony. Um, that's kind of an Xbox thing, right? To be oblivious to the VR progress.
maybe I still hold out for the Xbox Oculus rumors. Maybe Xbox is waiting to this huge announcement. Probably not, but
Yeah, the way that Phil Spencer has talked trash on VR, as much as I'd like to be wrong, I think that I think they're writing it off and underestimating us once again.
yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty big gamble. They're saying, because the console life cycle is 7 to 8 years. Uh, they're saying that they don't expect VR to catch on in 7 or 8 years. I mean, that's a pretty much a slap in the face as far as I'm concerned.
Well, look what it's done in 3 years. 4, I guess. It's crazy.
Delirium Juice says they are making calculated moves for sure. I think the next PSVR controllers will be insanely good. Well, it depends on what we're talking about here. Are we talking about PlayStation VR 2 or are we talking about PSVR Pro, which is honestly is where I think they're most likely to go first, is a hardware refresh. And I expect there to be a headset that looks almost identical to the existing PSVR headset, only with better screens. And I think that there are going to be Move controllers that look almost identical to the existing Move controllers, only instead of that Move button, there's going to be clickable thumbsticks. I think that we are likely to see something like this by next spring. Now, if we're talking about PSVR 2, yeah, I think that the next PSVR controllers are going to be outstanding. I think that they're going to have a whole new tracking technology on them. I think that we're going to see a lot of the features that they've added into the DualSense controllers be added into the PSVR 2 controllers as well. Yeah, so I agree in that sense. I think PSVR 2 is going to be groundbreaking in many different ways, and controllers being one of those.
Yeah, me too.
Anyway, I said I didn't want to get off on a on a rant there, and that's exactly what's starting to happen. So I'm going to rein it back in and get back to Awaken because again, it looks really cool. Roots, what time is it?
Quote time.
Quote time, sir. Quote, our aspiration was to share our love to worlds created by masters like Tim Burton, Alfred Hitchcock, and Stephen King, and pay a tribute to gaming memories bound up with Silent Hill, Grim Fandango, and other components that created our imagination. So, a little bit of broken English there, but I think we can make out what they're trying to say. They've got some pretty cool influences that have inspired them in their development of this game.
Yeah, well, it looks amazing. I can't wait to actually get in that world and see how creepy it is, right?
Right. It looks weird, dude, to be honest. Awaken is going to be more action based, as you're going to have to deal with hordes of living dummies using a selection of melee weapons. Also, and here's the kicker, Roots. Well, I guess kicker's probably a poor use of words. You're confined to a wheelchair. So the whole game is a seated game. And not only, does it allow you to play seated, but it's also used as a gameplay element, a puzzle factor, as you're not able to use stairs or quickly hide if you need to. There is an element of stealth as you explore, looking for a way to escape the doctor and the creations that are wandering the hallway. So, this is just back to what I was saying to begin with. This seems to be a very, very different game. And, a lot of times that in itself is enough to warrant a purchase and a playthrough.
Yeah, it's unique. Being stuck in a wheelchair. Now, do you think there'll be a wheelie button? Because if I'm in a wheelchair, I want to do some wheelies and spin around, do some tricks and stuff. But
I don't know, but it makes me wonder if we're used to having the arm swinging locomotion. I wonder if they would adapt that. I'm not just not.
Yeah,
not trying to make a
I
joke.
see what you're saying, right?
I mean, if you're in a wheelchair, right, you would have to move your wheels to get around.
Yeah.
That could get tiring.
Yeah, and I don't know if it would work as well, but because when you're in a wheelchair, you're the momentum and you're grabbing and flinging yourself kind of forward, right? You need some resistance, I think, to make it feel right.
Well, hopefully it'll be one of those powered wheelchairs that just have a little flip lever on it that we can
it's electric.
move around with. Yeah.
Yeah.
Handy Capable Gamer says a cool concept. I agree. It's a different concept.
Yeah.
And if they're going to really incorporate it into the level design like that, it's a great idea, in my opinion.
I think it's cool. I think it's unique. It's different, and it looks creepy as hell.
Yeah, and look at the production quality for an indie, a group of indie devs out of Poland. I mean, this thing looks pretty damn good, right?
Yeah, somebody in the chat said that a lot of games, good games, are coming out of Poland, and I agree.
Yeah, there are quite a few game development companies. It comes up more often than you'd think. Poland. I know that. I believe that not only the developer of Layers of Fear, but the publisher, also both Polish companies,
Hmm.
and there's a laundry list of more. We need to have what's his face here. He could list them all for us, and of course I can't think of the person's name right now. But there's one of our community members is up. I think that they're from Poland, and that's probably the reason why they know about all these Polish game developers.
Okay.
But yeah, of course, I can't remember because I'm trying to. But anyway, Awaken, a super creepy looking game with a lot of personality. It's slated to release in fall 2020 for HTC Vive, Oculus, and Steam VR.
Cool. Can't wait.
Zakatron HQ says maybe there's a scene where you fall out of the wheelchair and have to crawl on the ground, fleeing for some monsters. That's what I was thinking. When they were listing their inspiration back during the quote, one of their inspirations that they listed was Stephen King. And, that immediately came to mind when they started talking about the wheelchair, because who doesn't remember Misery?
Oh, God.
And that guy, after he had his ankles shattered, trying to escape that crazy woman in a wheelchair, right? He was in a wheelchair trying to get around. So, yeah, that's kind of what it reminded me of when I read that.
What's crazy is the book Misery. She didn't shatter his ankles. I believe she cut his feet off. I don't know, man. It was even more misery in the book. But yeah, it was just, that's a good analogy. So
if you're a robot in a wheelchair, wouldn't it be interesting if you could steal another robot's legs halfway through? That's a good idea, Mepper. Actually, I guess that's true. If you're not actually flesh and blood, I mean, you could make the wheelchair into your legs.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Cobbled, says Onakazi.
Yeah. I thinking that watching that movie, that was horrible. I don't like cobbling, Wes. I liked my ankles. So.
Anyway, let's move on. Awaken looks awesome. Coming this fall. If it's half as cool as it looks, it's going to be a great game.
Yep, agreed.
Blaston is a title that we learned about quite some time ago. This is the latest VR title from Resolution Games, the developer behind Angry Birds VR, Isle of Pigs, Akron, Attack of the Squirrels, Bait, and the upcoming multiplayer game Cookout, A Sandwich Tale. Only Blaston is a bit of a different type of game than these other, lighthearted, multiplayer-based mobile experiences. Blaston is a 1v1 multiplayer shooter where you're given an array of weapons and have to dodge bullets from your opponent on the spot. The first person to lose all of their health loses the round. So we, during the upload showcase Ruuts, we finally got our first real good look at the gameplay from Blaston, and this is a bit of a different game than we've seen before in this genre. It looks like even though you're moving around a lot, there isn't a lot of room to move around in. So it's and you're not that far from your opponent. So it's kind of a dueling game with all sorts of different weapon diversity. It seems like it's going to be a tense situation, if you ask me.
Yeah, I agree with Handicap Capable Gamer. I don't know why they're so close together, the platforms. It seems really bizarre to me. Almost like if you were standing on the edge leaning forward, both of you could almost be touching your guns. But maybe that adds to the element of it. I'm not a big one-on-one person. I need at least 2v2, 3v3. I need people to hide behind, like somebody else to
Yeah,
carry me. And when it's 1v1, I suddenly it's just me against this person, and they're gonna kill me like Mamefan did in that whatever that one cool game that they canceled a while ago. That was his
well,
jam.
I think you can see how they're dealing with the lack of distance. If you look at the footage here, I think it's a bit of a different game because it's not just your conventional blasters and guns that you're shooting each other with. There's all sorts of different projectiles and things that have all sorts of different behavior after you fire them, and none of it seems particularly fast. So even though you're right up in each other's face, it gives you time to react, to move out of the way. So I think that this game is going to be just as much about dodging as it is about shooting.
Yeah, probably. Looks pretty interesting, right? I wonder what type of. It looks like you got different types of guns, right? Like one
Yeah,
that sends out.
they just spawn all around you. They just pop up randomly in the air. You generally have 4 or 5 different guns to choose from, and you just kind of pick which one you want and grab it
Oh,
and
okay.
start firing it.
So you don't know what's going to be coming at you either. Yeah, I guess it
Right.
just sounds different, right?
It is. If the game that I can think of that is, well, the only game that I can think of that's anything like this is that Iron Lights that just released here over the last month or two. Even though that one's more of a melee game, it's still this kind of close up to mid range kind of dueling thing. But I think it looks a lot more fun when the weapons are projectile based rather than melee based.
Yeah, wasn't Iron Lights also turn based, or am I thinking incorrectly?
No, no, that is correct. Iron Lights was turn based, and
Okay.
Blaston seems to just be a free for all.
Yes, I'm not big on turn based games, but this one looks really cool. I agree with Zakatron. It could be really cool. You know.
Yeah,
So
yeah. He says Blasters of the Universe meets Spark. I think that's a good description there, and an interesting combination to boot.
yeah, I agree.
Can't wait to check it out. Blaston launches later this year and will be available on Quest this fall with additional platforms to follow. So how about that, Roots? If what we're reading here is to be believed, this is going to be a Quest game first.
Wow. Well, it's definitely a good game. I mean, depending on how big, if you have that whole platform to move around, they're not really moving around too much. But I mean, if you had the space, it'd be good to, dance around that platform. I wonder if you could fall off it. Like if you jump off too far, are you screwed, or does
Yeah,
it stop you, or,
it makes me wonder. They have to deal with that, and you know what I mean. You're up on a pedestal. What happens when you physically step off of it? And the way they handle that's going to be the key to this game because if they do that wrong, it's going to make people sick. I mean, there's a lot of things that they can do. They could have the platform move with you, but that's going to make you sick. They can kind of try to push your POV away from some kind of invisible wall, but I mean that's not going to work either because you're physically moving, right? So I'll be interested to see how they handle the boundary there.
yeah, I agree.
I guess they're probably going to have to black you out, right? Like some kind of a darkness fills your field of view whenever you're out of bounds, and I guess there probably will be some kind of a marker or some kind of something to tell you which direction to move to get back inside the boundary.
Some warning.
Yeah, yeah, there must be. I mean, that's the only way I can think of that they could do it without making people feel weird.
Yeah, Paradise Decay has the right idea. Discs of Tron. That would be amazing in
He's,
VR.
yeah, I never played that in the arcade. I didn't know they had the Disc of Tron game in the arcade.
Yeah. No, sounds.
Speaking of which, Solaris, Offworld Combat. We finally got our first ever gameplay footage of Solaris at at the Upload VR showcase. For those of you who don't know, this is the brand new multiplayer, uh, team-based multiplayer uh, game that was teased late last year from First Contact Entertainment, the developer, of course, which brought us Firewall Zero Hour. Um, in this game, you take on the role of a futuristic cyber athlete that uses VR to compete in first person shooter competitions similar to disc battles from Tron, but with guns. Root, you've said it repeatedly. You want your Tron game. Well, here you go, man. This is the closest thing that we've seen to it to date.
With Tron without discs, right?
Right, Tron with guns.
Yeah, yeah, it looks pretty good. It looks like it could be really cool, right?
Yeah, I mean, as far as these multiplayer team-based games go, I think First Contact has proven that they're kind of the masters of this domain. So if I had to pick anyone that I wanted to develop a game like this, those would be the guys, right?
Yeah, yeah, it makes sense. And we said this the other day about Firewall. You know, it'd be nice to come to PC as well, but I'll take this one for sure.
Yeah, I didn't know what to think when they unveiled this game and announced it last year because all they gave us was a logo. They didn't even give us like a cinematic trailer. So we were kind of, iffy on this game. What's it going to look like? I think it looks cool, man. I mean, it looks very futuristic, and the graphical quality, it looks pretty high as well.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on Echo VR? Have you tried it? I'm just kidding. I saw Radio Runt was mentioning about Echo Combat and art style, right? So I guess it kind of does, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's true. Echo Combat. I mean, this seems a little bit brighter than I remember Echo Combat being, but then again, it has been a while, so uh, what do I know?
Yeah.
Redder says this will be very successful on Quest. That's absolutely true. When they first announced this game, they announced it as a Quest game. We've since come to learn that it's going to also launch concurrently on Oculus Rift as well as the Quest, and PSVR is even going to get a version a little bit later down the road.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I was just reading what Radio Runt said. They were waiting for Echo Combat on Quest, so that's why this will do well. Because everybody's hyped for that. They don't have Echo Combat yet, so. But yeah.
Well, he says a lot of people in Echo VR who are using Quest also want to play Echo Combat. So if that doesn't come out for Quest, this will fill that void for them. This looks, I mean, even though it aesthetically looks something like Echo Combat, I mean, the arenas, there's a lot of differences as well.
Yeah.
But with that said, I mean, if that many people want to play Echo Combat, the developers, are asking, should we bring Echo Combat to Oculus Quest? If there are that many people that want it, I got to imagine we're probably going to get it, right?
Yeah, I agree. I think we will. Somewhere down the road.
Soccertron HQ says Firewall was awesome. I can't wait for Solaris. Yeah, man, Firewall was awesome. And, I felt it was kind of weird that they were limiting themselves to the Oculus ecosphere instead of taking it to Steam VR as well to try to bolster their lobbies. But, these guys have been the one example of multiplayer success in VR, and they did it by doing a PSVR exclusive. They didn't even bring it to PC, let alone Quest, and they've managed to keep the lobbies full for nearly 2 years now. So I have the utmost confidence that Solaris not only is going to be a fun game, but the lobbies are going to stay full as well.
Yeah.
This will be a very fast-paced experience with quick respawns and plenty of guns lying around arenas for quick picking up, similar to old school shooters like Quake and Unreal Tournament. Roots, did you? I used to play Unreal Tournament, but I never really quite got in to Quake. Either of those games play prominently in your past?
I never played either one of them really. You know, I didn't really get into any games like this till Call of Duty or anything like that.
Yeah,
So
see, by the time Call of Duty came around, I was done with it.
yeah,
But I used to play a lot of these, like Unreal Tournament. We would do versus on like Halo way back in the day. But this is more of those like, Doom, Serious Sam. You see your weapons and ammo just lying around, and you just run through it. And I think that's what they're referring to here when they bring up Quake and Unreal Tournament. It's that same type of fast-paced, action down corridors with ammo and health pickups lying around, and you just basically uh, you gather them through proximity.
hopefully you can jump. I want to jump, Wes.
Now that's a good question, Roots. I don't think I've seen anyone jump in this thing yet.
No, they've gone off ledges and stuff. I've been looking for a jump, but I don't see it. And that's one of the best things I think about the contractors update is like jumping around a corner. And I mean, there's so many times if you run around a corner and you go to spin and shoot somebody and they're jumping, it makes it that much more difficult to shoot them because they're moving and they're going in a way that you aren't expecting them to. So I think it's something that needs to be in every one of these type of games, in my opinion, anyway.
Well, yeah. Well, it really, honestly, isn't that big of a deal to me. I guess I don't play enough of these games for it to matter to me. I know it's a big thing for you, and you always look for it, and I always look for it too. But normally, I'm just looking for it to because I know Roots will like it if there's a jump function.
Yeah,
Um,
it just makes it more strategy wise. It makes it harder to hit the other person or vice versa. And in all of these games, you're seeing all the really good people. They're jumping around corners. They're shooting down at you. You're going to shoot them and they're up in the air and you're missing them. Or it just makes it a lot more difficult, or just adds something to it. So
Cool. Zakatron HQ says, "Too bad Space Junkies died." I agree, Zakatron, and the servers are still open. Let's be clear about that. We can all go in and play it today if we want to. But I feel like, I feel like it's a waste of a good game. Space Junkies, um, it got a bad rap, basically from being overpriced early on, and now everybody thinks it sucks. It don't suck. It's a AAA shooter game. It's pretty good actually. It just kind of, couldn't keep the lobbies full.
yeah, that's why they need to come out cheap and raise it over time if they're adding to the game.
I think that they could serve to take a page out of the Pistol Whip developers book and add a story campaign into it. Don't just be a multiplayer game, and have something. Even Call of Duty does that, right?
Yeah, that was one of the things that was cool back in the day was the story mode, right? So
Spry Guy says, "I bought Space Junkies and never played it." I haven't bought it. I haven't played it since I bought it, but I played it before I bought it. I played it one of the earlier beta versions of it, and it was great then. I felt like it was a polished experience ready for release. And since I've played it, they've added in new maps and weapons, all sorts of new functionality and game modes. It really is a AAA game. Uh, and who knows? Maybe we'll organize a Space Junkies raid one day, Roots,
yeah,
where we just grab a bunch of people from the Discord and I mean, everybody's got this game, right? They give it away pretty much.
yeah. I think I got it for $10. So
Yeah, I got 2 copies for $5.
oh yeah, that's right. They were giving away copies for a while there, right?
Yeah, I gave
Yeah.
away my extra one. I held on to it for a little while, but eventually gave it away to someone. Spry Guy says, "I played it twice in the beta." What'd you think about it, Spry Guy? I liked it. I thought it had a good tutorial. I love the lobby. I mean, the lobby's so interactive. You can just practice. I think that's the big thing. I love Firewall too, but they didn't really have anything going on in the lobby. And while you were waiting on a match, it was just boring as hell. Space Junkies, you don't have that problem, man. They've got target practice set up all throughout the lobby. You can use all of the weapons right there, and you can practice with friends while you're sitting in the lobby.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, Spry Guy says it was great in beta. I agree. It was very good.
Yeah, this game looks pretty
Anyway,
good. I think this looks good.
yeah, I agree. I think it looks great, and I'm glad that you're finally getting your Tron-like experience.
Yeah.
This game coming in August for Oculus Rift and Oculus Quest, cross-play and dedicated servers launching with it, and again coming to PSVR later this year, but no date for that quite yet.
Cool.
So, Roots, Blaston and Solaris, two great looking Oculus Quest games coming up, both of which, initially at least, reported as just a Quest game. And then, that changed over time. We come to find out that it's coming to multiple platforms, but still a couple of awesome looking games to run on Quest. And it never ceases to amaze me. It used to surprise me how the games have progressed on the Quest platform over time. They keep these developers keep proving to get more out of less. Right? It's not the most powerful machine, but it is highly optimized, both on a hardware and software level. So when you start to see some of these recent Oculus Quest game announcements and you see what they're able to do, even still, they're raising the bar when it comes to Oculus Quest.
Yeah, it's crazy how optimized they're able to get it, how good everything runs. Keep pushing the envelope. Makes you wonder when they'll hit that wall for the most part, as far as where you can't do too much more with it. Then it makes me think how good the next version is going to be with that new chip, or whatever, the 1.5 they're working on, or the 2, or whatever you want to call it, the Quest 2 or whatever. But yeah, they're definitely been pushing games, and it makes you wonder how good some of the next games are going to look, right? That we're talking about.
Yeah, man. Well, that's the thing, as we go along and we see these ports from PC and from PlayStation VR onto the Quest platform, if you look at a side by side picture, PC version versus Quest version, there are noticeable differences. You can tell that the way that the art is done and the textures are done are very different, but you can tell that they've developed some very effective techniques on the Quest to make things look better than they should. And that's really the thing. If you're not looking at some of these games in a side by side fashion, you'd be hard pressed to tell a difference in them. Case in point, Trover Saves the Universe. Trover Saves the Universe landed on Quest just this past week. And for those of you who don't know, this is the adventure game from Justin Roiland and Squanch Games. It launched on PlayStation VR and PC VR almost a year ago to the day, but now has found its way onto Facebook's standalone headset as of June the 18th. So here we go. Trover Saves the Universe, one of the very best games that launched in 2019. Probably the funniest game that I've ever played, Roots, and a high quality platformer to boot. And I watched some footage of this game on Oculus Quest this week, and man, it's hard to believe that this is Oculus Quest. It looks so similar to the other versions of it that I'm sure that if I saw side by side, again, you'd be able to pick out the differences. But I feel like if you're in this game, you're going to be hard pressed to tell a difference.
Yeah, and that's the difference, right? The reality is being in there and what you actually see versus the side by side comparison. And I haven't tried the Quest, but one thing I have done is gone from a CV1 to a Rift S to a CV1, and I can tell you, you go into these games, you would think, you're going into something with CV1, you're going to be like nitpicking all these little things, and every once in a while you do because you've been in the Rift S, but for the most part, you just see it for what it is. You're in that world, you adjust, and you don't even notice that there's a difference. And I would imagine the Quest would be the same. that's the world you're in and you're in there, you're not seeing a side by side, you're not going to notice a difference. And I agree, it does. It looks amazing, right? The just everything in the Quest version, and it's just amazing what they can do with the technology for sure.
Yeah, man, it's such a good looking port. Uh, that I almost want to buy it, man, and I already have it. I don't know why would I need it on Quest. Why would I need it on Quest? It's a seated game. It's a gamepad game. It just looks so good. I feel like I need to support the developer for doing this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you can't really say, well, I want my kids to play in the Quest more. I want them to play it more. And you don't really
Right.
want them to play it more. You're like, stay away from this game. This is it's not only one, like you said, one of the funniest games in VR, one of the best of 2019, but you nailed it when you said the gameplay. This is a very unique platforming game, and it's different than anything I've ever played in virtual reality, and it was just amazing. I was just telling my friend last night, as he was asking me about Rick and Morty, if it was good, and I said, yeah, it was a pretty good game, but if you want to get a game that's better, get Trover, because I feel like this is the adventure I wanted to go on as the clone Morty. But they kept leaving me behind, Wes, and it was messed up.
Paradise Decay says Trover looks no effing different on the Quest. It's great. Yeah, man, that's the way it looked from from across the YouTube screen to me. It looked indistinguishable. And again, I'm sure if we nitpicked and put them side by side, I mean, it can't be perfect. It can't be a perfect port, right? They had to change up some things just because of the different hardware. I mean, they would have had to.
Yeah,
But I mean, it looks literally great. It looks very comparable to not only the PlayStation VR version, but the PC version as well.
makes me wonder if I should go back in and play that DLC now that I beat it, because I've been thinking about that the last couple weeks to see what that was about. So might have to do that.
Onakazi says, "Can you use a gamepad with the Quest versions? I haven't checked out any Let's Plays yet." I highly doubt that, Onakazi. I mean, you'll be using your touch controllers as a gamepad, but as far as getting your actual Quest to recognize a gamepad, I mean, it's theoretically possible, but we're talking about uh, side loading some Android apps that allow you to connect the gamepad to the Android system, and now you got to try to somehow get that to be recognized in an official Oculus Quest, game. We're talking about jumping through some hoops here. Probably the juice isn't going to be worth the squeeze.
I kind of like the using the touch controllers anyway, because it's tracked, and it makes you, as you're looking down and you're seeing the controller moving, it makes you feel like you're more in there than you were. So
Well, apparently I'm wrong because Handy Capable Gamer says I used an Xbox gamepad on the Quest. So
mm.
there you have it. Shows what I know, right?
Well, you don't have an Xbox gamepad, so that is excusable. So
Yeah,
but
that's true.
but yeah, no, that's cool. Well, that's good confirmation then. But yeah, this is definitely, in my opinion, it's a must have. If you're not offended by bad language, they are cursing in this thing. They have a mode where you can I guess you can turn the cursing off or something, or partially, but it's
Yeah,
definitely it's
yeah,
definitely
it's
not
not,
off.
it doesn't turn it into a kid's game anytime soon.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy still hides the crystal where he hides it at, right?
Yeah, well, to be fair, if you were a kid, you might miss where it's going, uh, but no, I really enjoyed this game. It was very funny, and I wish they'd make a sequel, because I'm outside of the DLC. I'm ready for an actual another adventure. My dream game for this, Wes, and I've said it before, would be a merger between Trover and Rick and Morty, like a cross play or something. Somehow you go as Rick with Trover, or something. Somehow that would be cool, I think.
Like a multiverse game. Yeah, I feel like they kind of created Trevor because that's their way of getting around all of that, you know, uh, uh, usage rights and things that the the television production company owns. You know what I mean? They don't have to pay out Adult Swim like a cut on Trover the way they would for Rick and Morty. So, I mean, we could see it, but I wouldn't be holding my breath.
Yeah, probably not.
Paradise Decay says, I played the first 30 minutes of a game with the swear box. Yeah, I watched your video, PD. It was pretty cool. I added 50p for each F word in the game, and after 30 minutes, I had 25 pounds. Yeah, it's constant, right? Handicapable Gamer says that the Oculus Quest officially supports the Xbox One S controller, and it works in Pixel Ripped as well as Tetris Effect.
Oh, cool.
So,
that's cool.
So there we go. Just another example of me talking out my ass.
I like the Xbox One controller. I really do. It's one of the best investments I made for VR gaming, just because you have the dongle. I just push a button and it's set up to work. I don't have to worry about any extra hardware or software or any weirdness,
Right. Yeah. Steve XM is in the house. What's up, buddy? He says, Happy Father's Day to everyone. Happy Father's Day to you, sir.
Yeah, for sure.
So anyway, Trover Saves the Universe, absolutely beautiful looking quest port. But that wasn't the only one that they unveiled during the upload showcase. They also showed us In Death Unchained. This is an Oculus Quest port of the excellent PSVR roguelite that is currently in early access from Super Bright. Roots, this is another one of those deals. Now you can tell the difference by looking at this. You can tell that it's different from the PC version. But with that said, man, this thing looks good, doesn't it?
It looks amazing. I love In Death, man. And this is one of the ones that Anthony got me hooked on way back when. And it's just one of those games. Bow and arrows is also one of those things that feels good in VR, right? And having a game that's built around it, it's generally procedurally generated every time you go through, and you're constantly upgrading your character. It's just really cool. I think it'll be a really good game for the Quest.
Yeah, and this art style, for whatever reason, lends itself very well to the different techniques of shading that they use on the Oculus Quest. I don't know if it's the lighting, if it's the color palette, Roots, but maybe it's just a good trailer. But I think that visually, this version of In Death looks outstanding. Like I wasn't expecting it to look this good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I didn't even know they were working on a Quest version of it. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And you know what? What's really cool about it is this is a game, In Death, that you are going to benefit from being untethered, or unchained, as they like to call it. This is a game where you have enemies coming in all around you, and to be able to have that extra movement, that ability to react without thinking about, pulling your computer over or what have you, it's something that's definitely going to allow you to flow a little bit better.
Yeah, that's what Paradise Decay was just saying, that he always gets tangled up in the cord, so he's looking forward to this game coming to the Quest for sure. And it doesn't look like there's too much you're missing from it. And I don't know, those cathedrals and the sound and everything about this game is, at least on the PC that I've played, is amazing. And it's not easy, and it actually has a lot of skill to it, as far as as you're moving around, the different arrows, the different things that you come across. The boss fights are a pain in the ass. I don't know, it's I think this would be a really good addition to the Quest for sure.
Yeah, man, it's a great game. Kind of hard to believe that it's still considered early access, because it seems like a complete polished experience to me.
Let me ask you this: do you think there's? I mean, I guarantee there will be, but like, how many games are going to be never come out of early access? Because there are games, like you said, that it's surprising. You're like, at some point, you got to come out, dude. Like, come out of the closet, let everybody know what's going on, finish your game, say this is it, complete. Because even if you have a complete game, you could still add to it. You can still do DLC. Kind of feel like at some point it's kind of like that Whoopi you know, that blanket that somebody's holding on to that they have when they're a kid and they don't want to let go. The developers can say, well, we're still in early access. Everything's still able to be changed. And that solidifying, finalized product never comes.
Yeah, I think that this is a certain personality type that does this, right? That's the type that uh, never quite accomplishes their goals, but never gives up either, right? So they have this vision of their game, this wonderful game that they're planning on creating, and they never quite get there, but they're gonna. You know what I mean? One of these days we're gonna get there. So I kind of feel like that's what you see here with some of these games that just seem to stay in early access for years on end.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they'll finally get there. You know?
Well, I'm good either way with In Death, man. I mean, they can call it early access all they want to, but this is a complete polished game, if you ask me.
Well, see, that's the problem. That's not a problem for you, and it's not a problem for me. But the problem is for people like Alex or somebody else said in the comments earlier. I think a Spry guy. There was a reason why he didn't play a game because it's still in early access. So those people that are waiting for that title are missing out on a lot of good games. This is actually one of the things that we tried to explain to Alex back in the beginning of the show when he would always say, I don't do early access. And we're like, but this game's amazing, dude. We need to talk about it. You know, there's a place there. I can see that, especially with a story driven game, I can see that mindset, but I think that you miss out on a lot of games by definitively saying no early access, you know?
Yeah, I agree, and I kind of get it. I'm sure people have been burnt, throwing down money on early access games that have turned out to be trash. But certainly not the case here. Certainly not the case with a game like Primordian or Carnage Chronicles. Tons of great games in early access. Even the Morrigan you said was really good when it was in early access, right?
Yeah, it was really good. Yeah, I agree.
Zakatron says, in death and no cables? Count me in.
Yeah, for sure.
PD says, I can't wait for in depth on Quest. I always get tangled up playing on the Rift. Yeah, man, you really have to move around a lot and move quickly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love In Death. Actually, I need to get back into this game more. It's a little daunting, you know. You think you're getting really far, and then at the end, when you die, it stacks up who you killed. There's like 12 people on there, and you're like, I didn't get that far. I want to see that thing stacked, Wes.
Yeah, and there's a lot of progression too that's connected to your success in the game. There's lots of unlockable achievements and abilities. It's really cool.
Yeah, agreed.
Anyway, dude, it's starting to look like the upload showcase was an Oculus Quest showcase, right? We had Blaston, we had the Solaris, we had Trover Saves the Universe, we had In Death Unchained, and that's just scratching the surface of what Quest has coming soon. I've got a little list here of games that I didn't do a piece on, but Phantom Covert Ops comes out this week, Roots. 4 days we're going to have this game in our hands, and that's a phenomenal looking Quest game. They showed a little teaser for Onward on Oculus Quest. We're going to supposedly have footage on that before the end of the month. And then, as we all know, The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Q3, right around the corner, we're going to have a copy of it on Quest. And then, of course, as PD reminded us 20 times already, Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted also coming soon to Oculus Quest. Man, it's a good time to be a Quest gamer, right?
When's Five Nights at Freddy's going to come to the Quest is what PD wants to know. There's no Five Nights at Freddy's.
The devs have they haven't given us an exact date, but they have in recent weeks have been coming out and saying, you know what, it's coming really soon. It's coming really soon. It's coming really soon. So it's coming really soon, Roots.
Let me ask you this. Have you played Five Nights? I know your kids have, but have you actually played it at all? Or
It seems like I went into it for like 10 minutes or something and then handed it off. I haven't really played it.
I need to go into it and actually give it a chance, because I bought it, and then I mean, I'm glad other people have actually checked it out, which is worth it. But I haven't really put much time into it, and I don't see the hype. But I mean, clearly people are freaking the f out, right? I'm assuming it's a lot of the younger crowd, right? That's a big game for the youngsters.
Yeah, man, a lot of people really love that game. Um, it just doesn't seem like my cup of tea. Jump scares really don't scare me, especially when I'm expecting them. Pretty much looks like that game is just built on jump scares. So I don't think it would scare me at all. I don't think it would scare me the least little bit.
Yeah, someone like Alex would hate it because he's not big on jump scares, right? So um
I don't find it to be all that creepy either. I mean, like the characters, they just look. I mean, they look cool, but they don't look like something that is going to make me fear for my life or anything.
nice. Radio Runt playing some Wreckfest while he's watching the show. Can't get better than that.
Awesome. Gamer Chick 13's in the house. Hey, Gamer Chick, how's it going? Um, the Paradise Decay says Phantom Cover drops in 4 days. I know, man. I can't wait. This game looks better. Literally every time that they release a piece of promo material for it, it looks better than it did last time. And that's saying something, because what have they given us, like 10 teaser trailers at this point? And it's looked better in every one. And yeah, after all this time, 4 days away, again, something else really cool happening on that day, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait for Phantom Covert Ops.
I'll tell you what, man, it does. It looks amazing, and I think the people will be surprised at how good it is. You know.
Yeah, I think so too. It's going to be another unique take, a unique concept, and you really got to give it to those developers, right, for going for an idea like that. It's such a different idea. It takes courage, right, to put your shooter game, your stealth game, into a kayak.
Yeah, because I'm sure even when there was a pitch room, I guarantee there was a pitch room, and somebody pitched that idea, they had to have had the same reaction that we had, and we're like, no, man, we laughed, you know. And then when we saw the gameplay, we thought, oh, this could be intriguing. And as time goes on, it just looks better and better. And the key thing to remember is everybody that's tried it that I know has said it's amazing. So it's, just like Iron Man before the demo came out, and we said the same thing. When everybody comes out of it playing it, saying good things about it, that's a good sign. And I think it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, well, we're not going to have to wait very long to find out, huh?
Yeah, yeah. And Scion and Jurillo, you can listen to us rave about how good it is.
Right. Onukazi says, yeah, my nephews 5 and 7 have made me watch a bunch of vids featuring the characters from Five Nights at Freddy's. Yeah, my boys are the same way. They're a little older, they're 9 and 11, but I mean, they've had Five Nights at Freddy's birthday parties. They have all of the games on PC. They have clothes. They have these big, giant, glow in the dark plushies. I mean, they're big time Five Nights at Freddy's fans. So for them to turn down my offer to buy it for them on PSVR in lieu, or so that they can wait on the Quest version, it says something about that headset, right?
Yeah, you said it. They keep, really, that's it. They want the headset. You need to get another Quest. Second one.
I can if I want to, because Roots, I'll point your attention to the shelf behind me, but there's something prominently missing, isn't there?
Yeah, it looks like there's a Rift S missing from up there, right?
Yeah, that's right. I found a couple of buyers for it this week. I had a guy come in earlier in the week and kind of lowball me, but he did offer what my minimum price that I would take for it was. So I told him that I wouldn't relist the listing, and he told me it was going to be like a week or something before he even had the money. So I told him I wouldn't relist it, and if I hadn't sold it by the time the week was up, I would sell it to him for that low price. But as it turns out, someone else offered me more money, significantly more, and yeah, I had it sold in a day after talking to those people. And yeah, so new Oculus Quest, maybe. HP Reverb G2, maybe. PSVR Pro,
Maybe.
maybe.
It's funny because
Uh,
that's exactly what happened to me. It's like some, not the low ball price, but somebody offering me something, and then like I had like three people upping each other, like wanting that Rift S. And this, granted, it was like 6 weeks ago. It was maybe a little bit harder to get, but yeah, it ain't no joke, man. People want that Rift S, right?
well, here's the funny thing about it, man, is you know, I felt bad. I felt bad that I couldn't give it to the one guy because he subbed to the channel and all that, and I felt bad that I couldn't give it to him. I mean, it was enough. It was enough of a difference in cash that I couldn't pass it up, right? And I didn't promise him that I would anyway, but I still felt bad about it because here's this guy all excited about getting VR, and now he doesn't get it. So, a wife was watching the Oculus website trying to see if maybe they had them in stock, and they of course they weren't in stock. But after I took my Rift S and met this person, got the money for it, came home, the first thing I did before I informed the other guy that I couldn't sell it to him, the first thing I did was check the Oculus website, and you know what? As soon as I sold my Rift S, they came back in stock, $399 brand new on the website.
Wow,
So
nice.
so I basically got a hold of that guy, and I'm like, look, dude, I have bad news and I have good news. The bad news is I just sold your headset. The good news is you can buy one brand new under warranty right now, and I sent him the link. So hopefully he had the good sense to get in on it before they sold out again.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know, it's funny, in your defense with the whole like feeling bad and all that going on. I heard the conversation. Um, you know, like you said, you couldn't just not, you know, you felt bad not selling it to that guy, and you didn't have a choice. I heard your wife say, no, you are selling it to the guy for that extra money.
Yeah,
That is
yeah,
happening. So, because she
yeah.
uses the wisdom that you're using. So, yeah, you got to do what's best for the family. But that's cool. I'm glad you were able to get rid of it. And hopefully that guy got a brand new copy. And hey, what's going on? If you're watching this episode, I guess you may be, since you're subbed. Oh,
The wife is smart, right? She's been around long enough to know that if I see something, if something comes out that I want real bad, I'm going to buy it, right? I'm going to get it. So, yeah, if I have the opportunity to get a significant amount more money, that I have to, right? In her eyes,
yep.
because if I don't, then that money's just going to be coming out of the bank account when I finally do decide to buy
Yeah,
something.
like Gamer Chick 13 says, you know, it's not a giveaway. You know, you're
Oh,
actually
that's true.
trying to make
I d-
money on it. So, and you made money. You made money over what you paid for it. You had that thing over a year, and like me, you made money on it. That's nice.
Right. Handy Capable Gamer said I sold my Rift S for 500. Me too. That's what I got out of mine, $500. So I got to play it for a year, got a year of good service out of it, and then made $100 profit at the end of the year. So
Yeah, it's a
I
good
mean, you
deal.
can't beat that.
Oh, you can't for sure.
Anyway, so yeah, now I've got that little nest egg there. I've almost got my PlayStation 5 paid for outside of that. Besides that 500, I've got my PS5 pretty much taken care of now. So PS5's done. I've got 500 to go on my next headset. Life is good, Roots.
Yeah, maybe that'll be your next 1.5 PlayStation VR headset combo.
Yeah, if I had to bet it, I would say that it's either going to be PSVR 1.5 or it's going to be Quest 1.5, and I don't know which one's going to come first, but I feel like that's where that money's going to end up going.
Cool.
Anyway, let's get back to the show here. Uh, so yeah, Blaston, Solaris, Trover, In Death Unchained, Phantom Covert Ops, Onward, The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, Five Nights at Freddy Help Wanted. That's all coming soon. And then don't forget Boneworks. There's a Boneworks game coming for Quest
Wow.
as well.
Good time to own a Quest for sure.
Yeah, man. Yeah, 100%. There's a reason why I sold my Rift S and not my Quest. And it's not because it's more comfortable, and it's not because it has a better picture. It's because it's the most versatile headset in VR. and you can do so much with it. That's the reason why that one stayed and the other one went.
Yep.
Anyway, games. We learned about a lot of games, not only Quest games, not only PSVR games, PCVR games, not only games, but a lot of news came out this week, which display something that we've talked about a lot on our program, especially the Monday show, and that is the arts. The arts are on display in VR Roots now more than ever. And this was very apparent during the upload showcase last week as we got a brand new look at Gnomes and Goblins. This occurred nearly 4 years after
Wow.
Gnomes and Goblins appeared on Steam. WeVR is now planning to release an expanded version later this year. For those of you who don't know, WeVR is the studio behind The Blue, a project that started as one of the earliest demos for room scale consumer VR, while offering an up close encounter with a gigantic whale. Gnomes and Goblins was originally conceived in collaboration with Jon Favreau, the actor and director who has since gone on to incorporate virtual reality deep into the production of movies and television shows like The Lion King and The Mandalorian. So, Roots, Gnomes and Goblins, somewhat notorious with early adopters as this experience that was once available on Steam that just blew people away way back then. It kind of disappeared, went away for years, and we heard about midway through last year that this was going to make a comeback, and now we have our first hardcore proof of that with this new teaser trailer, and I think it looks outstanding. What do you think?
Yeah, yeah, it's funny because I came into VR early 2018, January, and by then this wasn't like the go-to thing, so I never watched it. I don't know if you've ever seen it or not. Heard about it a lot, all the time. I think it's really cool that they're still working on it and they're, I guess, adding to it, or if they just making it better or what. But it'll give me a chance to check it out because, like Mepper is saying, the old demo doesn't work with Windows Mixed Reality, so he's never checked it out. I've never checked it out. So I want to see what everybody else is seeing, see why they were blown away by this and how good it is. So this is more of like an experience, right? Or I guess a short movie type of thing.
Yeah, that's the way it appears. I like you, have not tried it. It would be cool if it were interactive, right? Because this world looks sprawling and big.
Yeah, it looks really cool. It looks like something I want to check out. And I don't know why I've never checked out the demo. I guess it probably works, I'm assuming. But it'll be cool. I'd rather not check it out now and get to see this, when it's brought out later, when it's finalized. It's cool.
Yeah, it is cool, and they do say that it is an expanded version. So I assume that they've added quite a bit to it. One of the coolest things I think about the way it looks kind of like claymation, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Looks like you're in one of those claymation cartoons or whatever. And I think that's cool in and of itself. That's what VR will let you offer you, as you these old style cartoon types are the ways they look, and then being able to be in that world. So
Yeah, it looks like something that you would see in a short on Pee Wee's Playhouse, doesn't it?
yeah, yeah,
The California Raisins VR. I'm in.
yeah. Pee-wee's Playhouse. Who doesn't want to play that in VR?
Anyway, as I mentioned, WeVR shared its latest trailer for Gnomes and Goblins during the Upload VR Summer Showcase, and this is uh, scheduled for release on Steam VR later this year. So not that long to wait, Roots. The year's just kind of getting by quickly, and I think I speak for all of us when I say it can't be gone quick enough, huh?
Yeah, I agree. Gamer Chick was just asking if there's a market for VR experiences anymore, or if they're dwindling, and I would say that there's a market for them if you get the right ones. And like there's certain experiences, kind of like what everybody felt with Star Wars, even though it wasn't exactly what I would have wanted out of it. There's just certain experiences or worlds people want to be a part of. They want to go in. They've always dreamed of being in there. And once we can get those in there, especially childhood stuff, on a level that's just blows you away, that like say would you could never get that same experience from watching a video. I think there will absolutely be a market for it for sure.
Yeah, I 100% think so as well. Mepper says it's all about the price. That's kind of true, but really with me, I feel like the quality in these experiences has been there for quite some time. The only problem that there has been with it to date is that they're always so short. They want to charge people for something, and they want people to pay for something, and even if it's just $5. I mean, a lot of these things are only 10 and 15 minutes long, some of them even shorter than that. And I feel like there's definitely a big market for it, but they need to give us something we can sink our teeth into. If it's not going to take a half an hour to watch, then it's not even worth my time, let alone my money. So I feel like as we start to get longer ones like Wolves in the Wall, I think that people are going to be more and more willing to pay for it.
Yeah, again, especially if there's a good story or it's something they're already vested in, something that that world is something that they've wanted to be a part of to begin with. So
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean that's the kind of thing that not only sells software but sells hardware, right? When you start to get these beloved franchises into VR, it not only makes people want to play these experiences, but it makes people want to buy a headset,
yeah,
right?
yeah, because that's one of the things that most people have trashed VR for several years is the content. Content's not there. If the content ever gets there, and once it's there, and especially if it's your game, like if Call of Duty is your jam, and they finally bring a full-fledged Call of Duty into VR, that would be the thing that's going to pull you in. And everybody's got their genre or their type of game, um, that would be something that would pull them in. So.
Yeah, yeah, and people tend to forget that VR is still kind of a toddler, right? It's just now getting out of its infancy stage, but it's still very young. So we've come a long way, and we're going to continue to make progress in all of these different areas: gaming, you know, uh, movies, music, the arts, and that's kind of the purpose of this little segment we've put together here is to kind of display some of that. And we do this periodically, right? We'll point out, hey, check out this art, check out this music, check out this movie in VR. We also learned this week about Baba Yaga. And what Baba Yaga is the next immersive VR movie from talented VR group Belbab Studios, the developers of Bonfire, Asteroids, and many other VR movie projects. In a work in progress presentation at the Annecy International Animal Festival Online, the studio revealed that Daisy Ridley has been cast in the lead role of Magda. And for those of you who don't know, Daisy Ridley is best known for portraying Rey in the most recent trilogy of Star Wars films, the first of which was her breakthrough role. So here we are, Rich, just another example of VR crossing over, VR having mainstream appeal, and another example of these Hollywood people recognizing the potential of VR, because not only, like we mentioned with Gnomes and Goblins, do we have someone like John Favreau involved with that. Now we've got Daisy Ridley accepting roles in this VR production, and what it does is it lends credibility not only to that particular short film in VR, but it lends credibility to VR uh, for outsiders, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like Norman Reedus and from covert, phantom covert ops. You're seeing more and more of this happening. And, if you remember, maybe it's been a decade, I don't know, maybe 15 years, but there was a point when television, the same thing happened to television. You started seeing big name actors that were typically movie actors. All of a sudden they're in a TV show and you're like, oh my God, like that's huge. And it was a huge thing. And then all of a sudden these shows started having actors and everything. The big name movie actors, the good ones, were starting to be in all these television shows. Right. And I kind of feel like we're in the same boat with VR and these VR games. And especially with a lot of these movies and the movie industry in general is kind of going downhill. It's leaving open a lot of time, and these people still need to make money. And if they have money thrown at them to be in a virtual reality experience or movie, I just think it's one more step to having true full-fledged movies or experiences with mainstream people in them. And it's just an exciting time to see how everything's developing.
Yeah, man. I think that it's an interesting time to live in. I think the challenges that this year has presented to us as a society has highlighted the potential role that technology can play in the solutions. Right? We have problems and we have potential solutions, and often the best solutions that we have are through technology. And I feel like when it comes to entertainment, I mean, even outside of entertainment, when it comes to so many different facets of everyday life, I kind of feel like VR is the best answer.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And it's an exciting time we're living in.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what time is it, Roots?
I think it's quote time.
It is quote time. Quote: In Baba Yaga, viewers will be invited as a main character into a haunting fairy tale world, completely reimagined, and their choices will determine the ending of this story of love, fortitude, and magic. Sometimes a force for evil, sometimes a force for good. The enigmatic witch, Baba Yaga, uses her powers to stop the villagers whose settlement encroaches upon her enchanted forest. When the viewer's mother, the village chief, falls deathly ill, it is up to them and their sister Magda to do the unthinkable. Enter the forest, uncover its hidden mysteries, and get the cure from Baba Yaga. Ultimately, every decision the viewer makes matters, even whether humanity and nature can live in balance. So, Roots, this isn't something that we're just going to watch from the inside. This is something that is going to give us choices, and our choices are going to impact the story. I absolutely love this sort of thing. I loved it before VR, and I feel like VR as a medium lends itself perfectly to this kind of an experience.
Yeah, it's kind of like those old books or whatever where you change it to a certain page for the story or whatever, but you're actually getting to watch it play out in real time. I think this is the future of storytelling, and I think we're here, we're right on the edge of it, man. And there's going to be maybe your kids, or maybe the generation, not their kids, but somewhere in between, are going to be thinking, you used to watch flat shows, like you weren't in the show, like what are you thinking, how boring is that, right?
Yeah, it's like on Back to the Future when Marty walks up and uh, plays the arcade game, right?
The
The
baby's
Wild
toy.
Goat. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. He plays Hogan's Alley, and they say you have to use your hands. That's like a baby's toy.
yeah,
It's kind of going to be what it's like, right?
yeah, choose your own adventures. I love those books as well. And yeah, no,
Yeah,
I
she
think
said.
it's really cool.
Yeah, Gamer Chick took the words out of my mouth. She said it sounds like a Bandersnatch. Exactly. Black Mirror on Netflix released a movie, but they didn't just release a linear movie. You have choices to make. Your choices determine the direction the movie goes, and it's the one movie you can't pirate from Netflix because it's interactive, so you have to watch it on Netflix.
Mm, sounds cool.
It is cool, and it sounds cool in Baba Yaga as well. I'm looking forward to checking it out in the presence of Daisy Ridley only makes me that much more excited for it.
Yeah.
Must be a good script, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, especially or either that or a lot of money, you know. But who knows, you know? I mean, maybe if a lot of times it comes to connections, you know, somebody that's a family member or a friend of hers and says, "Hey, you know, I got this project. We'd love to have you on here," and she gets in there because she wants to do it and is passionate. So it sounds cool.
Oh, I mean, we have so many people, so many celebrities doing things in VR now. I mean, maybe that's the new frontier for these people. I mean, you mentioned Norman Reedus up top, and someone mentioned in the I think it was Zakatron mentioned in the chat earlier that he was kind of disappointed with the Walking Dead Onslaught thing from Upload VR, and I had just the opposite take on it. You know, sure they didn't show any gameplay, but we've seen gameplay. We've seen tons of it. We know what the game looks like. What we didn't know is that they were going to be incorporating the actual characters into the game. And now that we see Norman Reedus is doing voiceover work for it, it's going to take that game to a whole new level. And that excites me, even if the trailer specifically or the little clip they showed didn't show us anything exciting from the game. Just the fact that they're bringing in world class voice talent like that, that's a big deal to me.
Yeah, agreed.
Anyway, uh, maybe you're into this sort of interactive experience. Maybe you're not. Uh, some of them are good, some of them are not. But often these type of experiences make their debuts in these virtual film festivals, much like Tribeca that we had just this last week, and the Cannes Film Festival, which normally doesn't present in virtual reality, but like we mentioned a moment ago, um, you know, technology meeting the needs of the times. If we can't meet in public, we can meet in virtual spaces. And we reported a couple of months back that the virtual wing of the Cannes Film Festival is going to take place in the Museum of Other Realities, which is an actual virtual museum that is not only available to purchase on Steam, but is also available through Viveport Infinity. Uh, Roots, the Museum of Other Realities, an amazing place to visit when there's no film festivals going on. Am I right?
Yeah, yeah, no, it's an amazing place. Got so much to do, so much to see. The artwork's cool, and what's really cool is just watching how they're bringing these different things together. You know, they're not really 100% the same, but bringing it together in this platform is really cool. And like I said before, just having access to these experiences or whatever you want to call them. You know, I'm not the type that's ever going to go to a film festival, probably ever in my life. But now that I can do it from home, I have a lot better shot of doing it for sure.
Yeah, we talked about this at Lent when they announced it a couple of months ago. I just wanted to give everybody a reminder about it because it actually is coming up this week. Um, and you know, we said it when we first went into the Museum of Other Realities that one of the coolest things about it was that it was an actual museum. It was a it was a physical, well, not a physical, but a virtual space that you make your way through and you see exhibits. So if you had to pick a spot for them to do something like this, I mean, there isn't a better place than the Museum of Other Realities, right?
No, it's perfect. It is. It's its own artwork and it's in and of itself. You know, all these different things
Yeah.
that they're doing. So
But yeah, I'm looking forward to checking this out this week, Roots. I think this might be one of the things I actually do on my birthday because this is taking place. The Marché du Film Festival des Cannes Extar takes place next week from June 24th to the 26th. And this isn't going to be some small thing, Roots. 55 pieces will be available for viewing in the Museum of Other Realities for free alongside other events and programs. And everything will also be available for replay all the way up until July 3rd if you miss these events live. So, no small production here, Roots. This seems like it's going to be a pretty big deal.
That's cool. That's one of the biggest things that bothers me with this type of thing lately, as it's came out, is like with the John Legend thing or whatever we've talked about in the past. It was like you need to be there that night. That's it. There is no replay. And I'm not big on that because, you know, a lot of times I might not be able to get there during that time, but I've got time at 1 a.m. on some random day. So it's kind of cool that they've got it all the way up till July 3rd to check it out.
Yeah, man, it is. And again, the program will see 55 XR pieces displayed in the MOR, selected by the Tribeca Film Festival, Veer VR, and Positron. 2 prizes will be awarded live at 9 p.m. on June 26th. So as they wrap this thing up, you can be present as they hand out awards. So they're going to literally have judges in here, Roots, judging all of this stuff. And you're going to be able to attend if you'd like as they hand out rewards.
Oh, how cool. That's pretty cool.
I agree. The Tribeca Virtual Arcade will also be hosted within More, featuring 12 VR and MR experiences, as well as 2 panel discussions. The Can XR Development Showcase will also take place, which will highlight 23 in development projects from 14 different countries, including 6DOF and 360 video projects, augmented reality projects, and real-time installations. So a lot going on here, Roots. It really kind of pulls the curtain back and lets someone like you or I, who have never been to one of these festivals, know just how much goes into it. And it seems like they've got a lot going on, right?
Yeah. Well, it sounds cooler than being there in person and having to use someone else's sweaty headset and wait in a line and, you know, all that jazz. You just jump right into whichever one of the 55 you want and you're good to go, right? So
yeah, man. Looks like are you seeing this chat here, or am I the only one privy to it?
The chat
in Skype.
Oh, I didn't see anything in Skype.
Well, good. No. Don't look at it then. I don't want you to start to get these pop-ups that I'm getting.
Okay. No, I got a call coming from Anthony.
Yeah. Apparently the Dark Frequencies chat is now the Virtual Strangers plus VR 365 chat, and I'm privy to it. So I didn't know I was going to be a part of your new deal, man.
Yeah.
But cool.
Yeah.
All right. So we've got the interactive films, the Tribeca Festival in the Museum of Other Realities. A lot going on, and you mentioned it, John Legend performing in the Wave. Of course, you know, as we've mentioned before, the Wave is a social VR music venue. And again, acclaimed musician John Legend is putting on a concert. We now know that this concert is next week, where he will be transformed into a digital avatar for a live performance. Legend's VR concert is among a few others in the platform's, quote, One Wave virtual concert series. And this concert is taking place on Thursday, June 25th, at 3 p.m. Pacific time. So here we are, Roots. Again, June 25th, my birthday. We've got Phantom Covert Ops coming. We've got the Cannes Film Festival taking place in the Museum of Other Realities. And we have John Legend performing for me personally on my birthday in the Wave. Damn, dude, it seems like it's going to be a celebration.
Yeah, it might be, but my question to you is, did you check with your wife on what her plans are for your birthday? She might be saying, you ain't going to no John Legend crap. I got plans for you, bro. But no, that's cool,
you know,
man.
what? I'm not the biggest fan of this genre of music. but one, I recognize John Legend as being supremely talented, which he is. Not his first foray into virtual reality either, by the way. He also played the lead role in Crow
Mm.
the Legend, if you'll recall. Um, but, as anyone who has checked out the Wave knows, these performances, it's not just all about the music. The music's kind of secondary to the audio video aspect of it. You know what I mean? The environments that change around you, the avatars, all of the toys, all of the people. The Wave is an experience of in and of itself. So just to have such a talented performer coming into that platform uh, makes it worth my time, whether it's a genre that I'm into or not.
Oh, that's cool. Well, I'll tell you what, man. It's one of those things that I'm looking at the time on that 6 p.m. Eastern. That's pretty early for most people. I mean, this isn't the middle of quarantine, and then people are working again, bro. But no, I think that sounds amazing, and I think it would be one of those things that even though there's the replay, you would want to be there during the initial one because he says that, or it says that you're interacting with John Legend in ways never before. So that to me leads me to believe that he's legitimately going to be there. And that's for a lot of people, they would feel like, oh my God, I'm in here, he's in here, virtually we're together. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, my wife responded to you in the chat. She says, Roots, he is the man. He gets to do what he wants. So
You know,
there you go.
it's just respect for the wife, because a lot of times they have ideas on what they want to do for you on your birthday, and then here comes Wes stomping around saying, "This is what we're doing." It is your birthday. Actually, you should get to choose.
Yeah,
So
you saying women can have ideas, Roots?
I say that they usually
Uh,
have the best ideas.
I say that that's just the devil working in their mind, and we might need to beat it out of them if that's the case.
Yeah. Well, to each their own, right?
That old devil, we know how to handle him, don't we?
Yeah.
Anyway, the John Legend performance in the Wave will also be live streamed on YouTube and Twitter. However, the studio says fans will have the opportunity to socialize and interact with Legend like never before, and all are welcome to join the virtual dance floor. Virtual attendees will have the ability to send paid visual gifts throughout the concert. For those of you who don't know, uh, there's a lot of cool things that can come from a visual gift inside the Wave. Some of these visual gifts that they have in there, just the toys that you find laying around, are some of the coolest things I've ever seen in VR, right, Roots?
Yeah, I don't know about paid visual gifts though. I don't know if I want to pay to visually gift somebody. I'm assuming, am I gifting John Legend because he need my gifts, or as I know it's going to some
Uh,
charity? It said right.
right. All the concert's proceeds are said to benefit Legends Free America campaign,
Hmm.
which is an effort to reform America's criminal justice system. And Legends virtual concert experience is slated to feature new songs from his upcoming album, Bigger Love, which debuts June 19th. Well, I guess it's not upcoming anymore. It came out 2 days ago. New stuff, right? Pretty cool for such a huge recording artist to come into VR, to VR's best, musical stage, and perform the new album. I mean, that's pretty awesome.
That's huge. You start seeing more and more. You could see a MTV of virtual reality coming if they wanted to, because when music television started, it was so unique and it was so different, and you had all these artists creating these cool videos and everybody wanted to hear the music anyway. It was a thing, and we've gotten away from that. But if you could have the same thing, and artists would also, I believe they would also get reinvigorated, kind of like Valve did with gaming, because the video industry is dead. Like, nobody gives a crap anymore. But if you could create something unique that everybody talked about, that gave your album buzz, and it's something new, I think it could be something. If the right artists do it and they do it in the right way, I would love to go see X artist do an amazing video, really cool artistically. So
Yeah, man. Well, that's what we said, right? When we first tried out the Wave, we were literally blown away. We talked about it for probably a solid month on this channel. Every time we did a video, we were talking about the Wave and how cool it was. And we said at the end that it was kind of the future of not only live performances, but the future of music videos. I mean, this is the future, and I still feel that way more than ever. I kind of feel responsible, Roots, for now that the Wave's blowing up. We called it,
yeah,
right?
yeah, well, we definitely did our best to shift people in that direction and say, hey, look, this is something we didn't even know existed, and look how cool it is. And then within 6 months of that, with everything happening, there's been a move to bring mainstream in there, and I think that's what it's going to take. So that's cool.
Yeah, yeah, I agree, and I feel like you know we've given example after example after example of here of the arts in VR and how it's growing and becoming more mainstream. I kind of feel like it's a snowball effect, Roots. I feel like the more of these events that take place, the more headsets are going to be sold, the wider variety of people, and the Wave is perfect proof of this. Uh, you don't have to be a gamer to buy in the VR, right? A lot of those people, maybe even the majority of the people that we met in the Wave, weren't gamers at all, but they were VR users for other reasons.
Yeah, I didn't even know they existed. I thought everybody was in it for gaming, and then boy was I wrong.
Right.
So
Right. So yeah, as we have these big artists share their art through VR and create new kinds of art through the medium of VR, it's going to in turn lead to more headsets being sold, which is in turn going to lead to more artists coming in, and it's going to snowball. And I feel like we're already seeing it happen, Roots. I mean, it's amazing as bad a year as 2020 has been for the world and society in general. It's been a hell of a year for VR, hasn't it?
yeah, no, everything that's happened has shifted everything towards virtual reality. And it seems like they're wanting that anyway, as far as in a lot of the different media types are shifting that way as well. So
Yeah. Agreed. All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap up the news for the week and bring us into this week's reminders. And we're going to kick off the reminders as we do each and every week by reminding you to join us right now as we go in real time and wish list some of these awesome games and applications that we have talked about today. And there is no shortage of them, is there, Roots?
no, Awaken and Blaston for me. I think I have
What's
everything.
that?
Awaken, Blaston. I think everything else.
Awaken, yeah.
Yeah, I think everything else I've already got on my lists. So
Yeah, that was the first one I was going to go for as well, but I'm not sure it has a Steam page up yet. No, it does not. But Blaston, yeah, 100%. And just as much so Solaris, right? Solaris. Yeah, no page for Blaston either. These devs got to get on the ball, bro.
yeah, we can't wish list them if they're not on there.
So Awaken, Blaston. I'm sure Solaris has got to have a page on Oculus, right? If it doesn't have a page on Oculus, I'm going to be upset, Roots.
My question is, are you able to pre-order Iron Man yet?
I haven't tried. I tried like 3 times.
Yeah, it's so weird. I mean, I'm sure you are, but I mean, it doesn't really matter. We're so close to it anyway, but it's so weird.
You can pre-order it on Amazon, but I'm buying a digital version of it, so I'm not gonna go there. Solaris, no page for Solaris. My word, Rich.
I guess I'm not doing any then. Wish listing today.
I'm gonna make one more attempt at it. I'm gonna go to the Oculus Quest store.
It's a good point, Mepper. I need to go through my wish list and delete some things. I'll see games that I've even played since, and I'm like, I don't want that game anymore. Why is that still on my list? But
Yeah, that you'll leave that stuff on your wish list, and they'll send you emails that a game goes on sale that you already have, right?
yeah,
Because you don't keep it updated.
yep, yeah, because I'll have it on Oculus or vice versa. So
All right, so here's my last ditch, Roots. I'm in the Oculus Quest store, and I'm looking for In Death Unchained. And it's not here either, son of a bitch.
yeah, this is a bad wish list day.
I guess, man. I
Yeah,
mean, Trover Saves the Universe is in here.
rest in
I'll go
peace.
ahead and wish list that because I do kind of still want to get it on
Hmm.
Quest, even though I don't really see myself dropping $30
Hey,
to
maybe
have
the devs
another
will send
copy
you
of
one.
it. But maybe it'll go on sale one day. Maybe I will pick it up
Yeah,
because I really am legitimately impressed with how well it ported. I couldn't believe it, how good it looked. Anyway, be sure to let me know what you wish listed in the comments down below. All right, that brings us to free stuff and killer deals, Roots. And to be quite honest, not a whole lot going on in either of those different categories. Free stuff, of course, we have PS Plus for June. As always, Call of Duty World War II, Star Wars Battlefront 2. If you're subscribed to PlayStation Plus, be sure to pick those two games up before time runs out. The Epic Game Store is giving away Pathway this week. And again, not a title that I'm familiar with, but free's free, bro.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Um, I did say that there wasn't a lot. There weren't a lot of killer deals, but I did notice a couple this week. Roots Res Infinite, in my opinion, a must-own game in VR. $12 on the Oculus Store right now. $15 on the PlayStation Network. Both games, or both stores rather, 50%
Yeah,
off. So that it's just cheaper on the Oculus Store than it is the PSN Store.
yeah, it's a good deal for sure.
Yeah, I actually got a little bit excited when I saw this Roots because I went into the PSN store and I typed in Res Infinite and it said Res Infinite DLC pack 6.99. I was like, oh snap! Is there going to be new levels? And I got all excited, clicked on the thing, and it turns out it was all like, wallpapers and avatars and stuff like that. It wasn't playable
Makes you wonder how many
DLC.
people they've gotten that way.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah,
But absolutely one of the best experiences I've had in VR. Very fun arcade style shooter. A game many people refer to as a religious experience. I wouldn't quite go that far, but I would call it a must own.
yeah, awesome.
Kind of surprised, Roots, that we haven't seen Res on Quest yet, right?
Yeah, yeah, it doesn't seem like it'd be a game that couldn't get wouldn't do well on there, right? So
Yeah, man, it's a whole new platform for this now legendary game. And obviously it would be able to run it. So, I mean, this is an old game. I'm quite sure Quest can handle it.
yeah.
Skyrim VR, 70% off on Steam right now. $18 Roots. What is there to say about Skyrim VR we haven't said already?
Do you have it already on
Uh,
PC?
I I have not played it on PC. I have not bought it on PC. I do have it in my library though. I can play it whenever I want.
Yeah, now'd be a time to buy it if you wanted, if you were thinking about buying it.
I think I'm going to play it first.
Hmm.
I think I'm going to see if I feel like it's something I need to buy. I've already bought it on PlayStation VR,
Yeah,
so I don't really feel like the need to help the devs out or anything. I've already given them my money.
yeah,
But I am looking forward to trying it out. It is, it's on our list, right, for the mods we're doing on the Monday show.
yep.
This is going to be one of these episodes is going to be around Skyrim VR. And to be honest, I'm looking forward to checking it out.
Yeah, it should be pretty cool.
But $18 on Steam right now. If you don't have access to this game, $18 is a killer deal for it. So it fits the definition of the segment, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, that's going to wrap up free stuff and killer deals for the week. I imagine that if not by next week, the week after, we're going to have the Steam summer sale coming, and that one's going to be nuts. We might do a whole episode out of free stuff and killer deals.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy.
Anyway, that's going to wrap up our show for the week. Well, actually, it's going to bring us to our 10th topic and our third and final reminder this week and every week, and that is how you can help support our channel. And of course, the easiest way to do so and the best way to do so is if you're new to the channel and you haven't already, please consider subscribing and clicking the notification bell. This is, again, the easiest and best way that you can support us. You can also join the conversation and join the community by scrolling down to the description below, and there you will find an invitation to our Discord. It goes on day and night there. The conversation never stops. All VR, all day. And again, Roots, the best thing about doing this, it's the community, right?
Absolutely. That's the most important thing about it. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Love those guys on there. I love all you guys for showing up in the chat today. Thank you very much. And then again, the final way that you can support our channel and help our community and channel to grow. If you're a long-time viewer and you want to do a little bit more, you can join our Patreon. And for as little as $3 per month, you can gain access to our show notes normally early. Again, a pretty good read, as well as exclusive content, including gameplays and the money show as well. Anyway, with that said, friends, we'd like to thank you once again for watching. And for Roots, I'm Wes. We'll see you tomorrow.